Scrappy Peeps, Suzanna here today for the Scrap Room, and I am working with this Carta collection called Summer Market from the June Flavor of the Month kits. Those were the 4 kits there, and this is the layout that I created, strawberry picking Corona style. So I have 3 pictures, 2 4x3s and 1 4x6, and I printed the 4x3s together so that the row of pictures would go all the way across the layout here. I am actually using week 2 of a sketch for a sketch class that I am taking. It's an Allison Davis 6x6 paper pad sketch class, and I am just using the left hand side of the 2-page sketch. However, I don't have the paper pads, obviously, because I am using my ScrapRoom kit. So I am just using 12 by 12 paper and I'm cutting it down. So originally I had intended to use that floral layer so that I was only cutting into 1 piece of pattern paper, but the floral is too busy for what I want to do. And so I'm going to change my mind in a little bit. Included with the kit, you get these 3x4 cut aparts, and I am going to use 3 of them. 2 as you'll see here as 3x4s, and then the 3rd one I am going to fussy cut those strawberries right there that I'm getting at, and I will use those as a embellishment as they are fussy cut. So this is just the left-hand side of the sketch, and I am using my June, the ScrapRoom Flavor of the Month kit, and I also have the pattern paper add-on as well as the embellishment add-ons that I am going to use here. So this is where I cut the red because I like the way that the red pops the strawberries and pops the red in my son and my daughter's sweatshirts. And then it also pops the blue sky behind my husband and I in that right-hand photo there. So I thought maybe I might use the red as a backing for that strawberries card. I didn't really, this is not summer per se. This was Mother's Day weekend. Every Mother's Day weekend, we go up to this same strawberry patch and we go strawberry picking, and that is one of my Mother's Day gifts, and it is a tradition that we have done for years and years and years and years, and fortunately was one that we were able to continue to do. We just had to do it Corona style, as my title says. And what that means, and I think I refer to this in the journaling, is that we had to wear gloves. Masks were optional, but gloves were required, and there was only 1 person per row, and yeah. So I have switched out my background paper there from the white to the cardstock that is included in the kit, which is that sort of sagey green there. But I don't like, I'm a white background kind of gal. I try and use pattern paper. I try and, like you saw there, the colored cardstock. But there's something about the crispness of the white that just really pops the photos. So this is where I'm going to fussy cut these strawberries, and I will not make you sit through all of that. So there we go. They're all fussy cut out. And I've decided that I like the layout as I have arranged it, and so I'm going to commit to it and stick everything down on the piece of paper there. So there's my 6x6 squares, followed by these 4x3 journal cards that I'm going to tuck in, and then the row of photos. I love that I was able to get 3 photos and really kind of showcase the day. I obviously have tons and tons of photos. I had toyed with the idea with all of the 4x3 cards of actually doing a pocket layout, but I like that this is not a pocket layout, but I can print out all of the pictures and put them into the pockets with these 4x3 cards to continue the theme from this particular. I think of this as the title page, and then I can have a few more pages using up all of these pictures there. So these are the embellishments from the main kit, the flavors. And I am going to try and incorporate them into the page. I also hear those flowers are fussy cut from one of the pieces of patterned paper. I was sitting at the pool waiting for my daughter because we were not supposed to leave, and I spent probably a good 20-30 minutes fussy cutting these little flowers out and leaving paper shavings all over the floor mats of my car, which that was fun, shaking those out. Anyway, so you can create your own embellishments with many of the pattern papers that Rochelle sends and includes in these kits just by doing some simple fussy cutting, and you have some great elements. So that is a tag there, and I like the way that it pulls the florals into the layout as well as the florals that are already in those cards that are there. And I'm going to scatter those florals throughout the page. So those of you who follow my work know that I usually try and have a trio or a visual triangle across the page. This doesn't really have the visual triangle per se because the line of movement of this is diagonal from the top left there where my hands are now, down through the photos, through that central journaling, and then over to that floral on the bottom right there. And that's kind of how your eye moves, and because you have that long line of photos that move all the way across the page, in essence it functions as one photo. So I have some chipboard. This is from the embellishment add-ons. This is an extra. This is supplemental to the kit, and I'm just tying some baker's twine. The baker's twine does not come with the kit. That is something that I have supplemented my kit with. And just going to hang that there. And I like the way that that tag that says farmer's market, because the patch is also a farmer's market, mimics those 2 4x3 cards hanging there and kind of ties that theme, that it's not a theme, but ties those elements together from the top left to those that are really strong and kind of more dominant on those pattern papers, the 6x6 pattern papers there. And that is really going to be the bulk of the layout there. I will off camera type my journaling, and I'm going to embellish just a little bit further. I am going to put the same twine that I used in that tag on the top left here on the bottom right, and again that just kind of pulls it together. In the sketch, Allison has a bunch of arrows. They're not arrows, they're kind of like arrows going downwards, and it was too busy for me, so by having these rectangles, they kind of mimic what she's got in her sketch there. And I'm sorry I can't include that sketch because this is not about that. This is about the use of the ScrapRoom kits. It also was a paid class, and it's not my copyrighted property to share with you. So I wanted to try and incorporate a couple of other elements into the layout, but really it's busy enough. And so now it is time to work on the title. And I have to laugh because 9 minutes of this video is me creating the layout, and 3.5 minutes of me is doing my title shuffle, the Suzanna title shuffle. So I have 3 different fonts here, and the title is Strawberry Picking, and then I wanted the subtitle to be Corona style because while I don't know, there's something about us wearing the masks and the gloves that I felt needed justifying. So I have this other font here. It's a thicker, and I like the color. The color complemented the colors that are in the layout and the color scheme that I'm using, but the letters look like they're falling downhill, and it's kind of weird. I think this is about the 3rd or 4th time that I've tried using this font and just can't find a way to get it incorporated into something. So I am going to go to this one that you can see is kind of a tried and true. I've used a fair number of these layout letters, but fortunately still have enough to do picking. And then I'm going to use some LE Studio to do my subtitle, which is going to be Corona style. And that's how I justify, well, not justify, but that's how I explain to to the person looking at the layout why we are wearing a mask and gloves. Although, I wonder if years from now, if that will even be questionable as to why we're doing that. I don't know. I saw some graduation pictures of friends of mine in Hong Kong, and their son was wearing a mask. So everybody was in the gym, and it was a high school graduation, and they weren't 6 feet apart, but they were still wearing their masks, which I thought was kind of cool, because my daughter said to me, there was a poll, I can't remember where she was, I think she was at swim practice, and the coach asked how many of them thought that they would be going back to school in August or September and be wearing masks, and she was the only one who thought that that might be the case. So it'll be interesting to see in August, September, how many of us are wearing masks and what social distancing still looks like, if it even looks like anything. That's the crazy thing about all of this, is you just really don't know from one day to the next what the next day is going to look like. So finishing up Corona style to justify, or not justify, I keep saying that word, I don't know why, I'm sorry, to explain why we are wearing the masks. And I'm going to put that little flower there to just kind of balance out the title. And then off camera, I am actually going to stamp Mother's Day with a Carrie Bradford stamp, and I'm going to put, using yellow letter stickers, the year 2020, because I have a lot of these layouts. So that is my layout. Enjoy the close-ups. If you have any questions about the ScrapRoom kits, please don't hesitate to leave them in the box down below. Thanks for stopping in today. I hope you're doing well. Take care.